بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Last session, we talked about the things that nullifies one fasting. And we mentioned three things, that is eating, drinking, and sexual intercourse. And we said that if you eat normal food, or if you swallow anything that can be swallowed, even if it wasn't food, then your fast has been nullified. So if somebody intentionally swallows a pill, a medicine pill, or swallows a small stone, then he, with that, has nullified his fasting. As far as the intercourse, sexual intercourse during the day of Ramadan, this is a very grave and serious sin. And that is why, among all the things that nullify fasting, the Prophet ﷺ had made an expiation for doing that sin. And that is, if someone intentionally has intercourse with his wife, he should first free a slave, set a slave free. And if he does not have a slave, as in the case nowadays, then he should move into the second option, which is to fast 60 consecutive days, 2 months. And if he's unable to do that, then the third option and final option is to feed 60 indigent or 60 poor people, 60 poor person. Okay, what happens if he cannot afford that either? What is the fourth option? There isn't any. So if he does not have a slave to free, he could not fast 60 days, 2 months, and he cannot feed 60 poor person, then there's nothing for him to do except to ask Allah Azza wa Jal for forgiveness, and to make up for that day he has broken by this sexual intercourse. The emission of semen without intercourse also nullifies fasting, but you don't have to pay that expiation. It only nullifies your fasting as if you had something to eat or to drink. But by the emission of semen without intercourse, you don't have to do the three things we have mentioned a bit earlier. We move on to the fourth thing that nullifies your fasting, and the fifth, and this is especially for ladies, for females. The fourth thing is the menstruation, which is the monthly period, and the fifth thing is connected with it, which is the post-birth bleeding. It is because of this blood that comes out of females, which is a natural thing. This is something that Allah Azza wa Jal has put upon them. So it is a natural thing. It is nothing to be ashamed of or to be angry of, as in the case of Mother Aisha, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, when he once entered his house and found her crying. And he knew that she was crying out of either shame or anger or something like that. So he told her, "What's wrong? Did you get your monthly period?" She said, "Yes." So he told her, as a type of comfort. He's comforting her and by telling her that this is something normal. Allah Almighty has put this among all females. So this is something normal, it's natural, it's nothing to be ashamed of, as we have this in some parts of the world. So whenever a woman has menstruation, or after giving birth she has this post-birth bleeding, then she is obliged, she must break her fast, and she is not allowed to fast. And even if she fasts, and even if she says, listen, I feel good, I'm strong, I'm capable, I don't want to break my fasting, I want to fast with everyone else, it is not accepted. Even if she does this, it is not accepted. And along with that, she is sinful, and she will be punished for doing that, because she is told not to do that. I think now we have room, we have time for questions, because I believe that the brothers have a lot of questions that they would like to ask about the things that nullifies fasting, and things that we did not answer in previous lessons. So does anybody have a question?
I'd like to ask you about the emission of semen, or the seminal fluid, while one or a person is sleeping.
The emission of semen is either intentional or unintentional. So if someone emits semen with his intention, he does that deliberately, whether by masturbation or by doing something that makes it come out, then this breaks his fast. This nullifies his fast, and he must make up for that day he skipped. But if it was unintentional, as in the case of nocturnal emission of semen, if this guy does it while sleeping, then it is not within his intention or his choice. He did not do this with his own choice and intention. Then this does not nullify his fast. Also, there are cases reported medically that semen is emitted without the intention, although the person is awake, but because of an internal illness, it comes out without his choice. And again, anything that comes out without your choice, without your own doing, then this does not nullify your fasting. The thing that nullifies your fasting, which involves your action. If you did something that emits this semen, then this breaks your fasting, and you have to make up for that day. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
I heard about some kind of illness that lets people emit semen involuntarily.
Yes.
So what could you say about this? Does he must pay something? Or?
Well, I did mention this a little bit earlier. If it's unintentional, if it's an illness, then this does not nullify your fasting. You should keep on, you should continue fasting. But this brings us to the other part of the question. What about if it is intentional? If someone does this intentionally? Okay, when he makes up for that day, does he pay anything? No, he does not. The only time you pay when making up for that day is when someone has sexual intercourse. Then he should pay this expiation. He should free a slave, or he should fast 60 days or feed 60 poor people.
I'd like to ask you about the emission of semen, or the seminal fluid, while one or a person is sleeping.
The emission of semen is either intentional or unintentional. So if someone emits semen with his intention, he does that deliberately, whether by masturbation or by doing something that makes it come out, then this breaks his fast. This nullifies his fast, and he must make up for that day he skipped. But if it was unintentional, as in the case of nocturnal emission of semen, if this guy does it while sleeping, then it is not within his intention or his choice. He did not do this with his own choice and intention. Then this does not nullify his fast. Also, there are cases reported medically that semen is emitted without the intention, although the person is awake, but because of an internal illness, it comes out without his choice. And again, anything that comes out without your choice, without your own doing, then this does not nullify your fasting. The thing that nullifies your fasting, which involves your action. If you did something that emits this semen, then this breaks your fasting and you have to make up for that day. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
I heard about some kind of illness that lets people emit semen involuntarily.
Yes.
So what could you say about this? Does he must pay something? Or?
Well, I did mention this a little bit earlier. If it's unintentional, if it's an illness, then this does not nullify your fasting. You should keep on, you should continue fasting. But this brings us to the other part of the question. What about if it is intentional? If someone does this intentionally? Okay, when he makes up for that day, does he pay anything? No, he does not. The only time you pay when making up for that day is when someone has sexual intercourse. Then he should pay this expiation. He should free a slave, or he should fast 60 days or feed 60 poor people. Any more questions, please? Yes, sir.
We know that according to Islamic teachings, one should not feel shy in asking about something that he does not understand in the religion. My question is it permissible for a man to kiss, hug, or fondle his wife during the daytime of Ramadan?
This depends on the person. See, people vary. They are different. They're not all the same. Newlywed people, especially, it's very difficult for them to control themselves. So if someone is newlywed, he just married a day or two, if he kisses, fondles his wife, or hugs her, or does something a little bit intimate, it may lead to intercourse. And then he is in deep trouble. And that is why we say, don't do it. If the guy is young, if he is still in his power and youth, we tell him, no, if you're afraid that this may lead to something a little bit more serious, no, then do not kiss, do not hug, do not fondle your wife. While fasting, that is, not after fasting. But if a person is capable of holding himself from getting into intercourse, then it is permissible. And the evidence behind that is the hadith narrated by Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ. She said that the Prophet ﷺ used to kiss and fondle his wife while he was fasting. But he was the one among you who had most control over his sexual desire. So this tells us that as long as you can control yourself, go ahead and do it. It's something that it is sunnah. The Prophet did it, alayhi salatu wasalam. Some of us, unfortunately, are so hard, they have hearts of stone. They would not fondle their wives. They would not kiss their wives. They would not be intimate and kind to their wives, thinking that we should be as far apart from each other until there is something we want from each other. No, this is wrong. The Prophet ﷺ used to kiss his wives before going to prayer without performing ablution, without making wudu, which means that kissing your wife, touching your wife, is permissible and it's commendable without performing ablution for prayer. Now, there is another hadith where one of the companions asked the Prophet ﷺ, is kissing my wife permissible? Does it affect my fasting? So the Prophet ﷺ said, does rinsing your mouth, you know, madmada, does rinsing your mouth, does turning the water in your mouth affect your fasting? So he said, no. He says, likewise, it doesn't. Because nothing went into your stomach from rinsing your mouth. And the same thing, nothing happened after kissing your wife. Now, some scholars say, no, you should not kiss, you should not fondle your wife. And why is that? Because they say that probably madhi would be emitted. And if madhi is emitted, then this may affect your fasting. Some scholars say, no, it breaks your fasting. It nullifies your fasting. But again, this opinion is not that authentic, simply because the Prophet ﷺ did it. And as long as the Prophet did it ﷺ, then it is permissible for us to do it, unless you are afraid that it would lead into intercourse. Any more question?
Your Eminence, I heard such terms like madhi and wadi. Would you please tell us the difference between them?
Madhi, M-A-T-H-I, madhi. And we have wadi, W-A-D-I. And we have mani, M-A-N-N-I, or one N. These are three terminologies used to describe the things that come out of the private parts of males and females. And they are usually connected, not all of them, but for example, many means semen. And both males and females have semen, but it differ in color and in actual thing. It's different in properties, in color and properties. Semen, as we know, is emitted after sexual intercourse, after having this sexual passion. And this calls for a total bath. If it is emitted, one should have the obligatory or total bath. You cannot pray, you cannot read the Quran, you cannot perform umrah, or you have to have this sexual purity. Because if it is emitted, you are sexually impure. And you have to perform this total and obligatory bath. This, the emission of semen has two properties to it that nullifies your fasting, and also makes you in a state of sexual impurity, providing it comes out with accompanied with passion, with lust, with desire, and providing that it comes out in a pumping way. It pumps out. It does not come smoothly. It comes with a pumping action or something like that sort. So this is mani. Mani itself is pure. The substance itself is pure because it is the origin of mankind. That is why it's pure. But by emitting it, one should have this obligatory total bath. Now, madhi is a white, thin substance that comes out of men and female because of sexual desire. So if one fondles, if one kisses his wife, if he sees something that he desires sexually, that is, this liquid comes out in the form of 2-3 drops of him. This does not call for total bath. but it is impure. He should clean himself and the spots that touched his clothes. He should wash it. And he should perform wudu. He should perform ablution whenever he wants to pray, because it nullifies his wudu. It nullifies his ablution. But it does not nullify his fasting. The fasting is as it is. Now, wadi is the third thing. It's a yellowish, thin, and sometimes a little bit thick drops of liquid that usually comes after urinating. When somebody urinates, it comes at the very end. And usually it comes when the weather is too cold. It comes unintentionally. When it's too cold, it's freezing. Or when someone carries a very heavy load. It comes out of him. Again, it does not call for total bath, obligatory bath, but it does call for washing it to clean it and for ablution. I hope this answers your question. Any more questions, please? Yes, sir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Why does women's period breakfast?
Why does women, period, break their fast, nullifies their fast? Well, actually, one woman came to Aisha, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, and she asked her a similar question. She told her, why do women make up for their fasting when they have, after they their monthly period is over, and they don't make up for their prayer? So Mother Aisha was annoyed with her, and she was a little bit harsh talking to her, and she told her that you should believe in what the Prophet ﷺ told us. This is the way that he taught us. He told us if a woman is clean and her menstruation is over, she should make up for the days she did not fast. But he never told us to make up for the prayers that she skipped. This is a ruling from Allah Azza wa Jal. So one could make a lot of justifications, but they do not hit the point. We can't say for sure that this is why Allah Azza wa Jal told women not to make up for the prayer. Yet this is the ruling of Allah. We should accept it. We don't have to ask for the wisdom behind every single thing, because definitely we're not going to reach that level of knowing the wisdom. We should just fulfill Allah's orders. Allah told her that this breaks your fast, then it breaks her fast. I think this is all the time we have for today's lesson, until we meet inshallah next time. Fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.